Happy Friday, happy Friday. We were off last Friday because I was at a my annual leadership conference. I do TD Jakes' leadership conference and I just love it. I just love it. And it was so funny that this year just some different things were happening with logistics and I didn't get into the breakout sessions that I wanted to be in. And so I was a little disappointed and I was like, I don't know if I got anything out of it. I don't know. And so, and then it turns out as I've been like doing therapy all week long, I've been using things that I got from the conference. So I just kind of laugh at myself. And the biggest thing is, in one of TD Jakes' talks, he was talking about men don't talk and like, big booming voice and over with that. And I feel like I've had men in sessions all week long that actually have been talking. And so I just kind of wanted to talk about today. So men in therapy, that's it. And I was telling my cousin last night, I feel like I want to do it like an ode to men. Like they're definitely like all. It's some fabulous females out there. It's some crazy chicks out there. There's some fabulous men out there, and they're just like jerks. But this week, I feel like I've been having just fabulous men in therapy who've been talking and articulating themselves well and really like in process of trying to make their relationship better, trying to make their relationship be what they know it could be. So I think the topic I want to talk today is about men. But if you guys had to talk to men about being in therapy, if a man out there is like, I don't know, because I don't know what that therapist lady gonna tell me, especially sex therapy, right? Like how some lady gonna tell me about my dick and what I do in my bedroom. Like what would y'all want them to know? So we'll start with you, Sherry. And what do you want them to know?
Well, that therapy is a judgment-free environment, and it's nothing to really be afraid of when you come to therapy. And that sometimes the opposite sex can tell you a little bit about yourself because they experience you.
Definitely so. Okay. All right. What have you noticed about men the most? Kind of since you've become a therapist and you've been dealing with them in therapy, what have you noticed?
Okay, so most of the time men will say, I never really did nothing like this before. So right then and there, they let you know, I'm trusting you.
Right?
Because I never even entered this part of my life. I've never, so I'm trusting you. So I'm letting you know that. And most of them will say, they'll ask question, do you see me in saying the same thing I say? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think sometimes
verbatim.
just knowing that they're not alone.
Yeah.
And they're not the only ones feeling these vulnerable ways, right? So a lot of times when men get with other men, sometimes they do express their vulnerabilities, but sometimes they don't. And the way that they express their vulnerabilities could be very different than how they do it in therapy.
Right. Very, very true. One of the things that I hear from men a lot in therapy is, well, two things. One is I'll hear men say something to the effect of, man, I don't guess I ever really just sat down and talk about myself. Like, I don't know if I ever did this before. And then two, I'll hear men say, especially if they're like over the age of 40, it absolutely breaks my heart. But I'll hear men say, I've never had anybody listen to me before. I've never had anybody listen to me before. And so, that just so breaks my heart. Like, because I'm a therapist, right? So I'm all about it. If nothing else, I should be able to listen to you with that. But to think that anybody, male or female, they're walking around and they're not being listened to. They feel like they don't have anybody who's listening to them, and that they have things to say. therapy is a good place to get that done. And so it's always nice when I hear a guy says who's saying that, and now he finally feels like he's being heard. Okay, Jessica, what have you noticed so far?
I noticed that men kind of compare themselves to other people more than women. And they have this image in their head to where who they thought they were going to be based on family or things that they're trying to run away from family experiences. And they feel like they have to carry the burden, or the burden's even heavier than the female. Like, I'm not who I thought I should be. And I want her to understand it's not her. It's just, I want to be at a certain place where I can be better for her.
Mm-hmm. That's really, really good. I'm glad you said that, because I've had recently, and yeah, the funny thing about therapy, and Sherry, you've experienced this, Addison, I don't know if you experienced it yet. Sometimes it's like, it'll be like a theme, like everybody will walk in and like the same, and it's a theme, you're having the same conversation. It's so interesting. So the theme of late for me has been the last couple of weeks is men who were comparing, let me see how to verbalize it. Okay, let me say real. Men are concerned that their current female partner, I'm gonna say wife for the purpose of this conversation, did other sexual things with other men when they were younger that they're no longer willing to do with them. And they're upset about that, and they're feeling less than. Well, you did it for him, I don't understand why you would do it for me. Or you had sex with him all of these times, I don't understand why you won't do it for me. And so I feel like I've been trying to explain, and I like this one analogy I told one couple. It's like you saying, well, you rob banks with him, why won't you rob banks with me? And it's just like, I was 18, I was stupid. I did anything he said. I didn't think about what I wanted. I just was trying to please him, like, and now I'm grown. I know what I like, I know what I don't like, and I can make a decision. I'm no longer like a little digmatized girl just following around everything. Like, I'm a grown woman now, and there's a difference. And so embrace that. And I think the other thing I've been trying to tell guys is, let me see how to say this in a professional way. Okay, I can't say it in a professional way. So
say it. Say it. No.
Right. Okay. All right. There are women, and there are times in a woman's life where you just want a fuck boy. You ain't got time. He is just a fuck boy. He is. And so you may do things with a fuck boy that you may not do with anybody else, but that relationship is something completely different, and you going at it for completely different reasons. And so, and a lot of people who just dealing with a fuck boy or a fuck buddy or whatnot, these are not people that you want to deal with in the light of day. These are not people that you would take home to meet your mama, your daddy. These are not people that you want your coworkers to meet. These are not people you bring into the Thanksgiving dinner. Like, it's not. They are from midnight to 8 a.m. You do what you do, we do what we do, and that's it. And so I feel like I've been trying to explain that a relationship, a marital relationship, a long-term relationship has to carry the weight of, we're financial partners, we're domestic partners, we're co-parents, we are maybe church members together, but we're taking care of each other's families. It's a lot of stuff that has to go into that relationship with that also impacts what's happened sexually. And so sometimes I want men to have a better understanding of that a better understanding of women. If I could like just sit down and be like, I want you guys to know, like, we are women, like there are all these things that impact it. And for many of us, we can't just be tapped on the shoulder and roll over. Like one of my clients said a long time ago, like, my clit is not a push start. Like, it's not, you can't just like hit one button and think that we're ready for sex. And it's like they know that when they're dating us, and then when the marriage gets down the road, that's no longer true, or they forget that. Okay, jump in, Sherry. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking that sometimes men have to, even though this is an ode to men, you have to take responsibility for the type of messages you give woman, for the type of wife you want. So the messages are already there. I ain't gonna have no wife that do this. I ain't gonna have that wife that do that. I don't want no wife that. And so when you start hearing these things as early as high school, even up, and so now they're changing too. So maybe they do want a wife that's like this. Maybe they do want a wife that do these freaky things, or they don't. And then sometimes you just have to normalize, like, sometimes men will say, before I get married, these are some sexual experiences I want to have. But I don't plan on having these same sexual experiences in my marriage. Like, my bachelor party was wild. It was crazy. Yeah. I did some things that I would never say, and so it can be the same thing for women too.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, definitely so. Definitely so. Yeah, with that. And also, I've also known it to be kind of opposite with women sometimes, which is also an interesting dynamic, where you've had this man who's lived this like fabulously filled with variety sex life and has done everything, and now he marries this woman and he's kind of settled down a little bit, like, I done did it and seen it all, like, I'm good. And she's like, but I was waiting till I got married to do all of these things with my husband and da 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 da. He like, I've been there, done that, like with that. And so that's always an interesting dynamic with that. Because I think people think every relationship, like every man is saying, do everything for me all the time. And a lot of men like, oh, I did that. I hung upside down on the chandelier. It wasn't all that.
Right.
In fact, I almost broke my back doing that.
They just want a little, sometimes couples just want a little adventure.
Yeah, definitely. And I say get intentional in playing that. And for my guys, if you guys could just not forget that you married or you dating or you're in a relationship with a girl, with a woman who has emotions and feelings, and you got to take care of our emotions and feelings. And so, yeah.
All right. When you brought up, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I wanted to check in with Jessica Addison real quick. And so after she says whatever she wants to say, then go back to you, Sharon. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, some men who have had their experiences, their sexual adventures, and now they're in a real quote unquote relationship. I hear a lot of men saying, well, I've never had that problem before, and I feel like I'm giving her my first true relationship, so I don't understand what else she wants from me. They don't have experience in those, considering somebody else's feelings and emotions. They just think it's like cut and dry. So really knowing that you have to put in a little bit more work, and it's not like in college days where you didn't have to worry about anybody's emotions. Y'all just wham, bam, and you're done. And you can do whatever you want to. It's some work you have to really do and some skill you have to develop.
Yes. Let's say that part. Okay, Sharon, what were you going to say?
Okay, so now I'm thinking about something different. I don't even remember what I was going to say first.
I know, that was so good, Jessica. Like, oh my God. Like, okay.
Look, now my mind's been completely wiped out. So what was I about to say? Well, I'm thinking a few things. I'm thinking, because I was thinking about how you were mentioning themes, and I think that I have had a reoccurring theme of the week, which is, how do you normalize sex as a domain in a marriage? Just like quality time, just like affection, just like other things, other areas of the marriage, right? Communication. So how do you start viewing sex as a domain in the marriage? To where you say, because sometimes partners, well, like the whole little, well, it's my body, so I don't have to do anything that I don't want to do. Well, maybe you do. Long as this, well, in a consensual way, right? So maybe, right. Not in a like, way where it's going to cause you trauma or anxiety, not that way. But, well, maybe you do, because say you like quality time. What if this person's like, my time, my choice. I don't want to spend any time with you.
Right. Or what if they did that with communication? Like,
right.
I don't feel like communicating, so I'm not. Like, and there's no effort to try. Like,
so I'll holler at you in 4 months. So how do you start understanding each other as that? So
I'm gonna toot your horn on this, and I'm gonna say, It needs to start, I hope, I wish, I want, which is why we do our premarital, but it needs to start in premarital counseling. And if you are a couple who is not going to get married, I still think you should go through premarital counseling so that you can say, and in our premarital counseling, we have an area that we talk about sex. What's the expectations? What do we do? What do we do if, for whatever reason, for health reasons, we're unavailable sexually to each other for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 with that. So there are women out here who have endometriosis or a lot of vaginal pain. Like, what does that mean in a relationship? What are we willing to do? What are we not willing to do? What if we're really unhappy with the sex life? How do we compromise on that? With that. And so I would love for couples to have those conversations, just like they have conversations of how do you think the family finances should be run? How do you think we should raise our children together? And really talk about it. And I think what happens is because love feels so fabulous. And when we find somebody and when we love them and you're in that new relationship energy, everything just flows and clicks. And so it's hard to see or think about, okay, what about when this love that we have isn't enough to sustain the relationship with that? But that's a part of being an adult, right? You got to save money. So when I don't have this, whatever $100,000 job, I won't starve. And so I think that's just about kind of being an adult and really knowing it won't always be this good. So what do I need to do? But I would love for couples to have those conversations early.
Even in premarital counseling, it's still like, even though we introduce it as a topic and a thing that goes along with marriage, it's almost like the response towards sex is always completely different than all the other topics. So it's almost like it's sex and then everything else. So I think they're making that connection that is definitely a category in your marriage.
Gotcha. And it's so funny. This is so funny that you say that because, I believe you. I think it's absolutely true. But it's like sex is the one thing for a lot of couples in a lot of different cultures that sex goes with marriage. And so I was saying, and I've said to clients, I'm sure I probably said it to you guys as well, like you could be domestic partners with your sibling or a friend. You can be financial partners in a household with your parents. You can move your mama in and y'all can financially do this thing together. You can have a companion with friends and siblings and da-da-da-da-da. The marital relationship or romantic relationship, sex is really what defines it as being different from any other relationship. And then I think if you're saying to your partner, our plan is to be each other's only sexual outlet, like we're going to keep this thing monogamous with that, then I think you also have to have the conversation of, okay, if one of us is unhappy, we got to come back to the drawing board and make concessions and deal with each other. And couples, I think, I don't understand. I won't say I don't understand, but one of the things that I think we try to do, and I think, Jessica, we were talking about this yesterday, or maybe it was another supervisee of mine. We were talking about, it was another supervisee, getting couples to use the same skills to compromise that they have in every other area. Okay, you pick the kids up Tuesday and Wednesday, I got them the rest of the days of the week. Okay, you cook on Sunday and I can cook on Thursday. Like, they have these amazing compromising skills, and it somehow, when it comes to sex, all their skills for compromise go out the window. Yeah, there's no give and take. There's just, we're locked. You want it all the time, you never want it, and it's like a fight.
I just think it's religion.
Locked. You think it ain't all religion?
It's religion. Okay. Because look, nobody. So look, it's so strange because only probably a handful of people have experienced their parents saying, "Ooh, one day you're gonna fall in love and have the best sex ever," and I hope you enjoy it. It's usually like, stay away from that. You're gonna get pregnant. Stay away from that. You can die and get HIV. You know, it's always something that while it might be method to the madness, I'm not sure. So I think it just complicates people's relationship with sex and how they want to give it and how they want to participate in it. Because ain't nobody never saying, ooh, it's going to feel wonderful. It's going to feel great. And wait till you experience this and wait till you experience that. It's going to be a wonderful time. Ain't nobody in my family never told me that. And I haven't met, I think today I met one client that said that his family was kind of like that. But the only difference was his family ain't even from America.
Oh, wow. No, I can see that. You're right. I don't think most American families are saying like that. And matter of fact, right now I'm binge watching Madam Secretary. And so just last night, they're trying to give a sex talk to their 16-year-old. And the first thing she says is, sex kills. My husband was like, sex kills? And she was like, I panicked. I didn't know what to say. And so it was like I was talking to a 10-year-old little boy as opposed to a 16-year-old with that. And it's just like that is what happens. Parents are not good about talking to their kids about sex. Or even just making it known that sex is something that happens in their marriage, you know. So a lot of parents will say things like, you know, we can only have sex after the kids go to sleep. Okay, if your kids ain't going to sleep till 11 o'clock at midnight, you're not having sex that night. And so maybe you got to let them stay up to midnight and you head to the bedroom about 8 so y'all can have sex. Because if you're a working adult, you're not going to have the energy to have a full out wonderful sexual experience at midnight when you done worked 8 hours a day, came home, cooked, cleaned, did homework, checked in with other family members or the local PTA. You're not going to have the energy to have sex at midnight. But come on with that. So, okay, we got 4 minutes left, and I feel like we veered away from the topic of men because I just wanted to know y'all are, that they are so fabulous. So fabulous. All right. So share your closing words about men coming into therapy, men being in therapy. What?
Okay. So I guess men don't be afraid to come to therapy. It's all good. You can come, kick off your shoes, and I mean that literally. Lay on the floor, I mean that literally. Lay back on the couch, I mean that literally. And just embrace an experience where you can finally be you.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. Yeah. If you are one of those men out there, because that just hurt my heart so much that you feel like there's nobody to listen to you, then I'm gonna say try therapy. Like, please try it. You will. I mean, even a terrible therapist should be able to listen to you. And so it's very low risk just to try it and see what that is. I think women innately understand the power of conversation because it does so much for us. And I think a lot of men in general feel like it's futile, but when they experience the power of being heard and feeling validated, they notice that, man, this is something that I do need in my life. All right, Jessica Addison, anything you want to add?
I was going to add finding the power of venting and being vulnerable so you know how to control those emotions and take back control of your life, as well as you do in other aspects, whether it's your career, your family, kind of adding some more developing tools to your tool belt.
Definitely so. All right, ladies, thank you for taking the journey in my Ode to Men video today. With that, and I'll see you guys next week. All right, bye-bye. I hope you enjoyed our content today. We are here at Atlanta Sex Therapy to serve. If you did like our content, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Also, click the little bell so you can get notifications when we put new videos out. People don't know what sex therapists do, and we're trying to get the information out there and spread the word. So I'm going to ask you to send this to 3 people, because you never know who may be in need of more good information about sex. Thank you, and just have a wonderful day in life.